Should you wait for the next camera release? What is good, YouTube? It's That One Camera Guy back at it again with a podcast for you. This is podcast number 5 for That One Camera Guy Speaks. Welcome back. If you missed any of my last podcast, go ahead and click somewhere up there and check them out. Last time we talked about what would you buy if you only had $500 and you had to start all over again. Very exciting, very fun topic, and really loved hearing the responses that you guys had to say. But today's topic that we're going to be covering has to do with this question in mind: should you wait for the next camera model release? And the reason why I say this is because we're always in this constant updating cycle. And some manufacturers update a little slower, some update a lot faster. Our DSLR friends tend to be a little bit longer in the tooth when it comes to updating. If you remember the Nikon D300S to the Nikon D500, was that almost 6 years? I don't remember exactly. And then even the 7D Mark II update took some time. But with mirrorless today, we're seeing updates happen every 2 years, if not even faster, maybe within a year. So today we're going to be talking about the a7 Mark III, the upcoming one, and also the Canon 6D Mark II. Now, I don't have the original 6D anymore. I used to have it. This is the 5D Mark IV that I have here. So I've used both systems, and I feel I can speak on behalf of both of them with some degree of confidence. So hopefully this conversation will lead somewhere for us. But let's go ahead and answer this question today, and I'd love to hear what you have to say about this in the comments section below, is should you wait for the next camera release? And unfortunately, there's no black or white answer. It's always, it depends, right? Everything is always dependent on your situation. If you're a professional photographer, and it also even depends on the industry that you're in. Maybe if you shoot weddings, you're not really concerned about updating a 5D Mark III to a 5D Mark IV. For example, I don't think there was any substantial difference between the two other than the fact that the image quality had a massive improvement, in my opinion, in low light. I thought when I shot an entire football season, high school football season with this camera, I really enjoyed it. And I thought the low light performance improved dramatically because of the higher megapixel count. So I really liked that about the 5D Mark IV. Other than that, autofocusing wise system, and I didn't really use the 4K on this thing, obviously, because it had the major crop factor, so I rarely used it at all, unfortunately. So as far as a photographic tool, this was not really a major necessity. If you could shoot with your 5D Mark III and you kept shooting with it, I think you wouldn't notice a major difference in your particular workflow. I think the things that people are most likely inclined to upgrade to is if there is a better lens that will improve their work. So for example, maybe a Sigma 135 f1.8, for example, right? That lens intrigues me a lot because it's a 135 at a very large aperture. And I'm interested in that lens. I've never used the 135 focal length before, and I'd love to get my hands on that particular lens and use it for sports. I mean, that's kind of my thing. So 135 f1.8. And also lighting is a big one. I'm sure you remember, if any of you do some type of lighting photography, use of lights, and you've used studio lights. So for example, I still have my Policy Buff lights. I use them. They work. They're so rugged, I would say. The Einsteins that I use in particular, okay? I've had them for 3-4 years now, and I haven't had any problems with them in general. And so I use them outdoors. I use them indoors. No problem, right? No big deal. But they can be inconvenient. Why? Because you got to have a battery pack, and you've got to get everything all set up, and you got to take it outside. But within the past couple years or so, in the last few years, you've seen a lot of advancements in technology. ProPhoto B1, the Air system, right? That kind of really set things off, where you had a built-in battery wireless system inside of the entire flash head. And now you have some cheaper options. The ProPhoto stuff was very expensive initially, and it still is, obviously, but now you have some more affordable options, like I think the Explorer 600 series, or I actually own one of those flash heads. I just haven't used it because I definitely need to get back into shooting some more portraits. I kind of miss it. I just haven't shot in the last couple years. And so I just love the challenge of shooting portraits, especially senior portraits in general. So that's what I really think some individuals are looking for. The ones who are always itching for that new camera and they love to voice their opinions and concerns for people like me, and maybe some of you, all right? Some of you are the amateur enthusiasts. You have some disposable income. I'm not saying you have a lot. You have some disposable income. Or maybe you have an a7 II right now and you're like, you know what? I could maybe sell this off right now, spend a few more $100s, and I can have the latest and greatest a7 Mark III. I totally get that. You could be in the same camp. You have the current 6D Mark II. Assume this is a 6D. And you're ready to upgrade. And you're like, I can sell mine off right now and invest another $1,000 and get the latest and greatest 6D Mark II, which are perfectly valid. If that's how you want to go and you want to have the latest and greatest, more power to you. I have no, I really don't care personally because it's your money. I'm not telling you how to spend it. I'm just showing you what I think about it in this podcast. But if you are coming from a different arena, let's say you're coming from a Rebel camera and you're looking at both of these cameras, the a7 II series and the 6D series, I think if you're coming from the low-end market and you're looking to advance your cameras, don't even consider the 6D Mark II or even the a7 Mark III. I would say look at the Canon 6D and also the a7 Mark II. There really isn't a need to upgrade to that next line of camera. And here's why. You're just getting started, right? Maybe you have a limited budget, and we talked about this in my last podcast. You can see over here. If you haven't done so, make sure you check it out. Is that you really don't need the latest and greatest stuff to get the work done. It's not necessary. There's probably a very fine-tuned group of individuals where you always need the absolute best to get the edge, especially maybe in the news cycle, the news work kind of cycle, and you absolutely need the shot and even sports arena. But for most people, the technology that's already available is really damn good. I think what you could do is pick up, if you really wanted to, is the initial version of the Canon 6D. By the way, I'm seeing prices for the Nikon D750, and I'm going to show some Nikon love here. So take a look. This is the Canon 6D used prices. We looked at this at the last time. And if you look right now, the D750... Oh, by the way, sorry, the podcast listeners. The prices for the 6D used market are going for about under $1,000. You can find it for about $900 is the average price, I would say. And I'm not looking... Okay, Nikon D750, which is a pretty solid full-frame camera. I'm seeing gray market prices go for about $1,250 right now, actually, now that I look at it. So if you're interested in getting a Nikon D750, a solid Nikon camera, full frame, it's there. The prices have dropped on that model. Yes, there might be an upcoming model coming up soon, but if you're in the Nikon arena, Nikon D750 looks like a solid one to pick up. So that's our situation right now, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at the specs on Sony Alpha Rumors. They did a lot of the work for me. I was going to try and figure out some of this information and kind of line it up for you, but they already did the work for me. So thank you, Sony Alpha Rumors. Appreciate it. So as far as these different things, some items don't matter to all of us. That's the funny thing. And this will be another topic in the future, but I really hate when photographers, videographers, and people out there on the internet always assume that your needs are the same as everybody else's needs. And the truth is, they're not. They are absolutely not. And you gotta get your head out of your butt in thinking that your camera needs are the same as everybody else in the world is. I've gotten so many questions and feedback from users at this point in time to realize that there is no one size fits all. The best you can do is share the information and share it in such a way that you can help people just make an educated decision on a particular product. That's it. So let's go ahead and take a look at what Sony Alpha Rumors breaks down. So sensor tech, as far as megapixel wise, the Canon's going to get 26 and the Sony's going to be at 24 still. So you're going to jump from 20 megapixels on the original 6D to 26, which is a nice bump. And the A7 Mark III is going to go to 24. Well, same 24, but maybe a brand new sensor, obviously. So Canon's going to inch out on the megapixel race. But as you know, when it came to the 5DSR and the A7R II, higher megapixels didn't really matter at the end of the day, in my opinion, okay? That's just my feedback there. Autofocus, a7III will probably win out, but hey, Take a look. The Canon has dual pixel CMOS AF45 cross side points. That's similar, I believe, to the 7D Mark II. That's not bad at all. I think with that particular autofocusing system, if it's solid, I think at this point in time, the 6D Mark II is going to be a solid, formidable camera that rivals the 5D Mark III, but is well suited, right? It has a better sensor tech, and it's going to have some additional features we'll talk about right now. But this one's really interesting. Having the A9 autofocusing system is a different animal, and the test you've seen already showcases that it's on par with the Canon 1DX Mark II and the Nikon D5, which are flagship cameras. So the A9 autofocusing system is no slouch. And if the a7III does get that, it's going to be insane. It's going to be, that a7III is going to be a killer camera in terms of just its autofocusing capabilities. Burst rate's going to be similar for both, so not too much of a jump. You're going to have burst rates about 6 to 7 FPS on both ends, most likely. For video, here is the big thing. Here's what I find interesting. So, again, imagine this is a 6D. You're going to finally get a full-frame Canon DSLR that has a screen that pops out. Finally, right? After asking for so long, you're finally going to get one that has a screen that pops out. Sony's been doing this screen that pops out. It just pops out like this. And I've always been in the situation of like, why don't you just do a fully articulating screen? You know, get your engineers, work some system out, get it. I don't care. For me, if the body's just a little bit bigger just to accommodate for the screen flip out, make it happen. It's just something that makes life so much easier. I think now, if you are serious about photo and video and you don't need 4K, this is definitely the camera you want to consider, especially if you do a lot of sit-down type of videos on YouTube, right? If you're going to do a lot of sit-down type style of videos, you want to be able to flip the screen out. The 6D Mark II is definitely a much bigger contender. You have a full-frame sensor. You're going to get really good low-light performance. You have dual-pixel autofocusing. You have touch-to-focus, more than likely. And by the way, the screens on the Canon cameras are bar none much better than on the Sony cameras. Okay, there's no denying that. They're brighter, they're easier to see, and they've got touch interface, which is done properly. Okay, a proper touchscreen interface with their cameras. So if you don't need 4K, the Canon wins. But here's the thing. I would really like if Canon, please, implement some better quality 1080p. If you're going to give the consumer 1080p, stop giving that same mushy 1080p that we're all familiar with. Find a way to do it. Find a way. I don't care if you got to offer a crop mode on the damn camera. I don't care. Come up with a way to do it so that the quality is better. It's not even living up to the current competition today. So, for example, on the Canon 1D Cinema, what I really liked about this is that it has this feature on here where you are able to get a crop censored, and I don't know if you'll even be able to see this from here, but there's actually this ability to get a crop censored Super 35 1080p image that's actually superior to the full frame 1080p. If Canon could do something like that, I think it would be a good camera. 4K is nice. It's not necessary for all. That's just my opinion. That's my personal opinion. We already know this by now that Canon isn't really pushing this as their main cameras. They want you to go to their cinema line. I think we just have to agree on that reality. Number 5 on this, they talk about ISO range. So let's take a look at ISO range right here. Canon goes up to 102,400 and Sony should do the same. I think they're both going to perform very well. I don't think Sony is going to make the a7 III go like a7S series style. That'd be crazy if they did, but I don't think it will. Stabilization is unfortunately not on Canon's side right here. Canon's only going to offer the 5-axis stabilization, and the Sony system has their in-body image stabilization, their IBIS. So Canon is just doing electronic. It is not real stabilization. It is just cropping the camera. It's just cropping the actual video that you're seeing sort of software based, similar to what you might get out of Warp Stabilizer in After Effects. All right, let's see here. Display, obviously, we've said this already. Canon is going to win. Swivel screen, brighter screen, better touch interface. Canon. Sony needs to learn from Canon on this end. I don't know why, but they really need to learn from that end. And finally, ergonomics. Hands down, guys, it's all a matter of preference at this point, ergonomics. But I really like the handling on DSLRs more than I do with the Sony systems. It's just a matter of getting used to it. It's just nice, holds well, up to your eye and all that stuff. Just fun times. But like I said, you can adjust quickly, even to cameras like this. You'll learn to adjust to it and change to it. Not a big deal. So there you go. That is sort of the comparison with the a7 II, 6D Mark II. Should you upgrade? I don't know. I don't know your situation. So if you currently have an a7 II, I'll tell you right now. Let's put it in this perspective. If you have an a7 II right now, upgrade the damn camera. Okay? Upgrade your camera. I don't know why, but the a7 II always felt very lacking. I didn't think the autofocusing was very good. I think if you just need a decent full frame camera, the a7 II is not bad. But if you can sell it now, and maybe if the a7 III is priced effectively, which I doubt is probably going to be around $2,000, I would upgrade the a7 III. I'm just speaking on my behalf, by the way. I want to let you know, I'm speaking in terms of what I would do. Okay? I would upgrade. The 6D, on the other hand, is a much more difficult to sell update. Now, if you're purely in the Canon camp and you like the best technology there, but at a good budget, and you have some money you've allocated to upgrade, the 6D Mark II is solid. I would do the upgrade, especially if you do a little bit of video, especially with dual autofocusing technology. But here's the catch. You are going to have to upgrade your lenses if you don't already have it. For example, let's say you have a Canon 80D and you want to jump to full frame. The 6D Mark II makes a lot of sense, but there's a lot of advantages to the APS-C series. You have that really nice 10 to 18 millimeter lens, which is really great for like vlogging, in my opinion. If you go to the full frame, you're gonna have to upgrade to the 16 to 35 f4, which is a different camera lens on its own. You're gonna have to pay good money for that. So that's what I think about all of this mumbo jumbo updating and stuff. What are your thoughts on it? Are you planning to upgrade to any of these lines? Are you waiting on the Nikon end? What are you waiting for on the Nikon camp? Are you gonna go to the a7 III, 6D Mark II? I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comment section below. Again, if you want to support the work that I'm doing, consider checking out the affiliate links I have in the description below that mentions, obviously, none of these products that are out yet, unfortunately. And if you haven't seen any of the previous podcasts, go ahead and check out the screen around. Subscribe if you haven't done so already so you can see the latest videos that pop up. And with that said, I'm your host, That One Camera Guy, and I'll catch you on the next podcast. Bye.